So I'm hoping that I can do this loud enough and that the microphone picks up my voice enough that this isn't too distracting. I put that and preface that right now. Hi guys, this is Connie. I've got the baby in the background in the other room. I've got the dishwasher going, trying to be as productive as possible and get more of these Connie Reads The Dogs of Winter chapters out for you. We're on chapter 44, so we are almost there. So I'm going to try and talk as loud and as clear as I can so that you pick it up. Please let me know in the comments if it's not enough, and I will continue to do my best and try to find something else that doesn't keep me away from my kid and getting stuff done around the house. Minute-long intro. Hi guys, this is Connie. We are doing Connie Reads The Dogs of Winter. This is chapter 44, titled Mowgli. For 2 days, it rained. I knew the woman in the hat would not come when it rained. Still, every day, I went to the birch tree and waited. Finally, the sun shone. I raced to the tree and climbed just a few limbs up. Again, she would see me. Me. She did not look through me like a ghost. She did not confuse me for a mad dog. She did not see me digging through trash bins for food or eating the still warm heart of a deer. Because her eyes had softened, hadn't they? I hugged myself and smiled. The sun rose high to the top of the tree. She did not come. The sun slipped to the side, then sank below the outstretched limbs. Still, she did not come. When the first star appeared in the fading light, I climbed down from the tree. The dogs leapt in a frenzy. "You!" I shouted out Lucky. "It's all your fault!" Lucky tucked his tail and turned his head away from me. I stood over him, my fists clenched. If you hadn't been so greedy, if you hadn't tried to steal her food, she'd have come back. Tears stung my eyes. I raised my fist. Lucky cowered. Smoke stepped between us. He lifted one corner of his lip. Stop. Lucky looked up, his eyes pleading. All the anger drained away. I dropped to my knees and threw my arms around his big neck. "I'm sorry," I whispered into his scarred ear. He licked the tears off my face. I did not go back to the birch tree the next day. Instead, I explored with the dogs. But the day after, I could not keep from going. I had just hoisted myself onto a limb when she, the woman in the hat, walked into the sunlight. She hummed as she set up her stool and her drawing frame, just as she always had. She took out her wonderful box of color sticks. I squirmed on the limb. Why had she not looked for me? Had she forgotten? Was I just a ghost to her now? She took another plastic bag from her very big bag and set it on the stool. Then, without turning or looking up, she called, "I brought you food." My heart skipped once, and then again. Perhaps she was talking to Lucky. "But you have to come down from that silly tree to get it," she said, her voice smiling. Slowly, I slid down from the tree. Just as slowly, she picked up the plastic bag. She held it out. "Here," she said, "take it." I wanted to scamper around her in circles like Moon and Star had when they were excited, silly puppies. I wanted to roll on my back and show her my belly. Instead, I walked over to her with my eyes downcast and took the bag. I retreated to the base of my tree and squatted on the ground. The smell from the bag made my mouth water. Inside the bag, bread, a boiled egg, sausage roll, and most wonderfully, a red apple. I held the apple to my nose and sniffed in its appleness. I would share the bread and sausage roll with the dogs, but the apple and the egg were mine. "Eat," she said. I opened my eyes, startled. She watched me. The wrinkles around her eyes smiled like Babushka Inya's had. I broke off a small piece of bread and chewed. My throat was too dry to swallow. How long had it been since I'd been this close to another person? "Do you live near here?" she asked, tucking her white hair into a bun. I nodded. Her summer blue eyes took in my long matted hair, my torn-off pants, and the shirt that was really just rags now. Do you have parents? I shook my head. She cocked her head to one side. What's your name then? I coughed and looked away, ashamed. What would I tell her? Dog boy? Cockroach? She sighed. You're just like Mowgli in the Jungle Book. I looked across to her. Mowgli. A tiny memory that I could not catch came with that name. She sat on her stool and placed her pad of white paper on the frame. She looked over her shoulder and said, You're welcome to stay and keep me company, Mowgli. And I did. Can you draw a firebird? I asked. Rip licked the grease of the roasted chicken from my fingers. I shifted him in my lap to better see what the woman in the hat was drawing. Lucky lay with his head by her foot. Sometimes Lucky and Star came with me to the birch tree. Rip always came. Never did Smoke or Little Mother or Moon let the woman in the hat see them. She gave me a curious sideways look. How does Mowgli know about firebirds? From my fairy tale book, I said. You can read? I shrugged and pulled a tip from Rip's good ear. How old are you, Mowgli? I sighed. I had been meeting her at the birch tree for many days. I was tired of her questions. I pointed to her box of color sticks. What are those? Pastels, she said. She held up a pastel the color of blood. Want to try one? I shook my head, but I could not take my eyes off the red glowing stick. She smiled. Come here, Mowgli, and show this old woman how to draw a firebird. I took the pad of white paper. My filthy fingers smudged the edges. I cringed. It's okay, she said. She handed me the red pastel. Draw, she said. I closed my eyes and searched my memory for the great firebird, and then I drew. When I was finished, I handed her the pad, not looking at her. She gasped. Why, Mowgli, this is very good. She looked from the firebird to me, then back at the paper. I wrestled with the smile pulling at my face. My heart soared like the firebird over the city. I buried my face against my hands. She touched my shoulder. I jerked away and covered my face. It's okay, she said. I heard a ripping sound. My drawing was trash. I huddled deeper in my knees and hands. Here, she said. You keep it. I looked up. She had torn my firebird from her pad and held it out to me. You can hang it up, she said. I leapt to my feet. The smile won over my face. You keep it, I said. It will get wet and ruined where we live. And before she could ask the question already marching from her mouth, I dashed with Rip into the forest. That night, I sat on the flat boulder at the far edge of the meadow and gazed at the night sky. Moon lay on one side of me, her feet twitching in her sleep. The rest of the pack lay scattered about the meadow. I pulled my knees to my chest and rocked myself back and forth. My blood sang in my body like the music in the Ferris wheel park. This is very good, she had said. She had not said, you are a small, pathetic boy. She had not said, you are no better than a cockroach. She had said, very good. I cupped Moon's face in my hands and put my nose close to hers. I am very good, I said. I am a very good Mowgli. Moon wagged her tail and kissed the end of my nose. I took the piece of newspaper my sausage had been wrapped in from my pocket. I smoothed it out on my knees. Star nibbled at one corner. Stop that, I said, pushing him away. I searched the piece of newspaper hungrily for the words I knew. The man ran away. I read it out loud to the dogs. The man ran away, I said. I laughed. He ran away. I grabbed Lucky by his front paws and danced with him in the moonlight. And that's the end of chapter 45. Be careful with that and enjoy, please and thank you. And let me know in the comments below whether or not the noise in the background was too much. Hopefully it's not. I'll try to review it and see how it goes. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.